Hello and welcome back. Brett here with clickmill.co. In this video, we're going to be talking about the first strategy that's going to help you to get people to move mountains for you. And it does not matter if you're on the phone. It doesn't matter if you're in person or over a Zoom call, whatever it is. The first thing you're going to do is smile with your eyes. Okay, so when we study what's called nonverbal communication or body language, our body manifests and reflects our emotions in predictable ways across cultures. So the way I smile genuinely in the United States is the same way, Shazeb or Emily or Micheline is going to smile thousands and thousands of miles away. And there's two kinds of smiles. The number one is what we would call an imitation smile. And again, this is all in, books on nonverbal communication. How do we communicate our emotions and sometimes our thoughts with our body without even speaking? Okay, so a polite smile would be something like this, where our mouths are closed and it's just kind of, I don't know if you guys can see me very well. And you just kind of close lip, just kind of smile and nod. Okay. A imitation smile is a smile like this, where the eyes are not engaged. And I'll just throw some extra information at you because why not? This is your orbital muscle. It's called your orbicularis oculi. And this is the indication, based on the studies that have been done, of a genuine smile where someone's actually feeling positive emotion. So if you see the smile here, but you don't see it here, there's a good chance that that person is not being authentic. It's more polite. So we might call this a polite smile, and that's more like this. It's like when you take a picture and it kind of looks painful and you're like, that does not look good. It's because it's not genuine and you can sort of intuitively tell, but it's like, well, what part of the smile am I missing? I'm smiling, the eyes aren't engaged. Okay. So then genuine smile is the eyes are engaged and you can smile with your eyes without smiling with your face. And when they've done studies on this and they actually cover the mouth, they can tell when someone is genuinely smiling by the sort of wrinkles that come right here on the sides of the eyes. Now, the reason why smile with your eyes and then with your mouth, okay? And that's the rule here. Smile with your eyes and then when you're with your mouth. Is because when you speak with a smile, people can actually hear it. And that is a second study underneath nonverbal communication called vocalics. A smile changes the way the muscles are tensed, and you can actually hear it in your voice. And so smiling, not only, you can see it and you look friendly and approachable, but also you can hear it in the voice. So people are hearing it and they're seeing it. Now, what happens on the back end, and this is why this is so important. Number one, most people don't walk around smiling at people because, it's like, well, I don't know that person. Hey, a little skeptical or something. So firstly, most people don't do it. Secondly, what happens is we have what are called in our brain, we have what are called mirror neurons. And there are specific neurons, cells, electrical impulse cells in the brain that do what other people are doing. So when someone waves at you, you wave back, but you don't even think about it. Why? That is a mirror thing. Okay. And when you smile at a baby, the baby smiles back. If you frown at a baby, the baby cries. Why? Because its mirror neurons, it can't think yet, it's a baby. Its mirror neurons are doing what you're doing. And that's how we learn how to be people. We naturally do what other people are doing. So the first step at getting people to move mountains for you is to smile and actually mean it. Like, I care about this person behind the counter at the place where I'm buying my groceries or something. And it's, you're just giving them a real smile because you care about them. And as you begin to talk with them, they can actually see that, they can feel that. And then what happens? Their human nature begins to reflect that at you, and they're going to smile too. What happens if you're smiling at someone and you're being kind to them and they're like, whatever? That's hard to do. Like, you're going to smile at them and they're going to be rude and be like, all right, whatever, have a good day. No, they're going to smile back. Like, that's what happens. And so that is the first step to getting people to move mountains for you. And I want to open it up here to questions. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 of us in here. Does anybody have questions about step 1? Smile with your eyes, then smile with your face, with your mouth. Questions on that?
Not actually a question, maybe a statement that I think unfortunately people not always will mirror our kindness and like positive attitude. I think it depends on the person.
Yes, I would agree.
Because I have experience with that. Not all people like reflect our energy.
Yes.
Not always and not everyone.
Yes, and I will build upon that. And so that you guys know, this is not a mind control course. I'm not telling you how to, get the pocket watch and wave it in front of someone's face and then they're hypnotized and they do whatever you say. This is how do you get good fruit more often and you increase your likelihood of people wanting to work with you on a probabilistic level, not a certainty level. Like, yeah, there's rude people out there. There's cultures where maybe smiling's not as much, and like again, I'm speaking from a American perspective here. This works in the United States. As we get to the end of this, I'm going to give you sort of the framework that it's based off of, so that you can critique it for your situation. But I think generally in the West, this is going to work really well. But again, it depends on who you are, where you're at. It depends on maybe someone's just having a bad day and they just want to be rude. Like that stuff's happened. So this isn't going to work every time, but it increases the likelihood that you're going to walk past barriers other people will get stuck at. Okay. Any other great comment? Any other thoughts, guys? Questions?
I have one.
Yep.
So is it possible that you feel like you're being very genuine and it's like showing in your eyes, but you're not actually like appearing genuine, and like how do you fix that?
Good question. So we talk about in other courses, especially in the introductory courses, which is sort of the phase 1 courses. This is communication. So this is going to be more phase 3, where we're talking about specific domain knowledge. But if we go all the way back down to the foundation, what happens with our internal experience, it comes out. Okay. And when we say manifest, I don't mean magic. I don't mean if you have faith, God puts a Ferrari in your driveway. That's silly. What I'm saying is who you are in the inside shows on the outside. And so generally, the reason body language works and the reason you can be aware of other people's what they're doing with their body is because they don't know they're doing it. So it's kind of a hack a little bit because they're doing it naturally. It's like here, we're here, and it's like, oh, sorry, I've got my hands crossed. And like the novice, the rookie body language person is going to be like, your arms are crossed because you're uncomfortable, or because you're closed. And they're going to be like, no, I'm just comfortable. And it's like, well, what is it right? Is it wrong? What does that mean? Well, it's both. They are comfortable. Why are they comfortable? They said, well, I'm not closed. I'm just comfortable. Why are they comfortable? Because their emotional state matches the positioning of their body. And a lot of times when you see they're crossed here, they'll also have their legs crossed. They'll also be doing a bunch of other things that show a closed emotional state. And that's totally normal. That would be super comfortable. If I'm feeling closed and I'm like, hey guys, that's not genuine and authentic, Emily. This would feel super uncomfortable, you know? But if I'm feeling closed and I'm being closed, then that makes sense. And that's usually what people do. So they're like, well, I'm just comfortable. Yes, you're comfortable because your body is matching your internal emotional state, which is to be more reserved or closed or kind of I'm here, but I'm not in the conversation. And there's a lot of ways our body can do that. Now, if we're feeling like we really are, and there are some things that can get in the way of this, and I'm not making any pointed claims at you, Emily, but just generally, a lot of times insecurity can interrupt that natural process. So I'm thinking, because the problem is now I'm thinking about it. Oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? What happens if I don't smile right? Am I smiling right? And then because you're thinking about it, you just mess up the natural process of just smiling. And the reason why I used to learn a lot of this stuff was because I was very insecure. I didn't grow up in a household where I was particularly, raised to be secure. And, I was learning this stuff to figure out like, how are people supposed to be normal or something, and other people, how are they supposed to, like, what is this supposed to be? But when you're thinking about how you're looking, then you can sometimes look awkward, and you can kind of do it two ways. Number one, I would say if that's the case, and this is, I would say from my experience, the most common way that we kind of mess up our own genuine, authentic approach is don't worry about what other people think, which is way easier said than done. Who cares what they have to say? If they don't like you, they're not a person you want to hang out with anyway. Don't worry about it. And just be authentic. And that's super hard to do. I mean, that took me like 28 years to figure out. And I think now I'm at a place where I can really do that. But that's hard still sometimes. Authenticity is just being who you are and not caring what other people have to say about it. If they don't like it, they're going to filter themselves out of your life, and good for you, because why do you want people who don't like you around? Like, that's toxic. This is what they teach in AA when you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a very effective, originally Christian program. They just teach you how to be authentic. You just say who you are. You say your mistakes. You say, hey, I'm an addict. And why does that work so well? Because you have a bunch of people who are there. They see the worst part of you because you just shared it. And what do? They don't judge you, and they don't criticize you, and they don't condemn you. And they go, wow, thanks so much for sharing. And so what happened? You were authentic, and everybody just accepted you the way you were, and you're okay. And then you just do that over and over and over and over and over. And then you can just be okay being who you are, and you don't have to hide it. And since you don't have to hide who you are anymore, you don't need drugs to push it down. You don't need alcohol to push it down. Like, that's how breaking addiction works. Addictions come in because we need to connect, with people, and it is a tool to push down and remove that need to connect. So if you're connecting with people authentically and you're just being yourself, then you are going to naturally show what's on the inside. It's going to come out on the outside. And obviously insecurity is like, you can have a little bit or you can have a ton, and it just varies. I would say that's probably the biggest reason, Emily. And again, number one option is who cares what they think, and just, forget it. I'll hang out with people who like me the way I am, even if I'm weird. And, there's plenty of things about me that lots of people don't like. I talk a lot, for one. And, it's just like, I guess I'll just hang out with people that want what I have. So we'll just do that. The second thing is you can practice body language, and you can get really good at it. And you can make it a habit to, when you smile at someone, it's a really good habit to smile with your eyes, because, maybe, like, for me, I'm not, how do I say this? Like, I'm not always the most agreeable person. And it's not that I would say I'm super disagreeable, but also, I'll get down to business if something's not, like, someone's got to get the result. And if you're going to get in the way, like, I got to get something done. And so I may not be particularly overly friendly. And so I have to remember, okay, hold on a second here. This is a moment where I need to slow down, take a breath, smile with my eyes here a little bit, and then go in. And I might be frustrated, but I know coming up to that customer service desk and hitting them with the frustration, that's going to shut them down. They're not going to hear me. They reject people all day long who are rude to them. And so you can work on authenticity and just being who you are. And then you can also practice the skill of this. And, when you're feeling positive emotion, smile with your eyes, work on that. And you can do it on both ends. Do you have any other questions on that, Emily?
No, that answered it.
Yeah, great question. Lastly, I'll say this, and we'll close this video out. The other thing that happens when we smile at people is smiling. And when someone smiles back specifically, it releases dopamine in your brain, which is a neurotransmitter that feels good. It is a regulating, it's kind of, they call it like your feel good drug, or just positive feelings, emotional connection, holding someone's hand, getting a hug, smiling. All of those things regulate your mood and keep it in a positive place. And that's why human connection is so important for us, because we're rewarded for it. So when you smile at people and they smile back, they start to do what? They associate good feelings with you. And I don't mean that in a romantic way. I just mean we're meeting a need. You know, how often do people walk around and they don't see someone smile at them all day? That's kind of a bummer day. If you're the only, think about this in a contrarian sense. If you're the only person that smiles with someone all day, you have immediately made a bigger impact on someone just by smiling than everybody else in the entire day. That's how easy it is to outperform the crowd when it comes to connecting with people. Okay, so with that, the first step that you're going to take to get people to move mountains for you is smile with your eyes and then smile with your mouth, your lips, or whatever you want to call it. In the next video, we're going to get into the next strategy. We'll see you there. God bless.